In this video, I'm going full-on fawning fanboy mode, but I don't care. This is going to be perhaps the first of several videos about Neo-Latin and contemporary pop culture. Welcome to Ancient Classics. My favourite pop band of today and quite possibly of all time is a band called Noah. If you know them already, then you'll need no convincing. If you don't, check them out. To me, Noah represent the very greatest of the kind of jazz pop that's come to light in the social media age. A jazz-informed pop that earlier generations just had never managed to capture. Jazz chops and scary musicianship with real pop hooks and lyrics that I can actually enjoy. The closest parallels that I can think of from earlier eras in terms of their informed musicality and lyrical snark are Zappa and somewhat less so Steely Dan, but Noah are really nothing like either. That crass comparison just doesn't do them justice. You just have to check them out. But this isn't a video about Noah. At their core, Noah is a duo comprising Genevieve Artadi and Ludovici Cole, plus various guests and other musicians from time to time. I've always found Artadi and Cole's work as a duo somewhat more cohesive and compelling than their own solo works, which are nonetheless excellent and well worth checking out. But last year I went to a Ludovici Cole gig in Limehouse, London, supported by Genevieve Artadi as his opening act, and well, it just wasn't a patch on Noah's last album, Forever, which came out just a couple of months afterwards, which I think is one of the greatest musical statements this decade. So when a few months back I heard that Ludovici Cole had released a new album, Nothing, I didn't immediately check it out until it came to my attention just the other day that the first track is in Latin. Yeah, Latin, a pop tune in Latin. And I'm not talking about one of those novelty YouTube videos out there, some Latinized cover of a famous pop tune or something. No, I mean a full-blown original tune in Latin. So yeah, I had to immediately order the LP on vinyl, and holy shit. Now, I'm not going to do a musical breakdown here, though the piece is well deserving of one. Since this channel is primarily about Latin and Greek, I'm going to focus on the lyrics. Side note, I generally don't like vocal music. I find most lyrics cringe and they spoil a good tune. It's one of the reasons, I guess, why I mostly listen to jazz and jazz fusion. But I make an exception for both Noah and Ludovici Cole and Genevieve Artadi's solo work. And besides, this one's in Latin. So let's translate and break down the Latin text. The libretto, if you will. The first line is the same as the title. Ludovici Cole Est Frigus. Ludovici, clearly a Latinization of Louis. Looks genitive to me of Louis, and that doesn't quite fit into the grammatical context. I guess it should be Ludovicus, but who cares? Cole, strange that Ludovici Cole Latinizes his first name, Louis, to Ludovicus, but not his second. Now, I'm not sure what you'd Latinize Cole to anyway, so why bother absent an established precedent, especially if you're not going to conjugate it in context. But actually, it works for me because the E in Cole, as in Cole, elides into the next word, est, colest. So we have a neat congruence between the Latin pronunciation and the English. Est is, Ludovici Cole is what? Frigus. Not an adjective, not frigidus, not Ludovici Cole is cold, rather frigus is a noun. Ludovici Cole is the cold, the chill. Ludovici Cole is coolness itself. Now, Cole is the composer, lyricist, and arranger too. I mean, this is a full-on orchestral piece. The man's talents seriously know no bounds, and if you think my tone is being sarcastic, I'm really not. So he is proclaiming himself to be the personification of cool. Most people just couldn't get away with that, let alone in Latin. Soon as anyone says they are coolness itself, well, they've proved that they are not. But I'll make an exception for Ludovici Cole. Now, if you need any convincing, just watch the live performance video of this tune. He's playing a motherfucking pipe organ, back turned to the audience like that other personification of cool Miles Davis. Overly arch irony, a tired trope in and of itself. You might think so in the abstract, but just listen to the arrangement, and I think you'll agree. He damn well is coolness personified, even if he says so himself and can be a bit of a clown from time to time. But nonetheless, the noun, frigus, coolness, cold, I thought I'd trace its uses in the classical corpus. A misguided call perhaps, because Ludovici Cole in this tune is clearly drawing from the sacred choral tradition rather than the classical tradition, as evidenced by the soft C in the first word, Ludovici, and by his orchestral and choral arrangement. Though, side note, this is actually no pastiche. The harmony is pure Noah/Lewis Cole jazz fusion derived functional harmony, quite separate from the small c classical/ecclesiastical choral tradition. So anyway, back to Frigus. I did a word search in the Lerb Digital Classical Library, and silly me looking for examples of Frigus. I've only just done a video on Virgil's first eclogue, so how could I have forgotten the lines Fortunate senex, hic inter flumina nol et fontis sacros Frigus captabis opacum. You're a lucky one, old man, for here, amongst familiar streams and sacred springs, still will you find your cool shade. My cool shade was not a literal translation. The literal Latin is something like shady coolness, but I reversed the noun and adjective round because I can. My video, my translation. But does anyone actually get called Frigus personified in the ancient canon? Skimming through all the hits on my Lerb word search, it seems that most uses of Frigus, in the nominative singular form at least, refer to weather, climate, or the chills in a quasi-medical sense. There are loads of uses of the word in Celsius, I think it is, and also the chill of death. Now, I didn't bother searching for other cases of Frigus, accusative, ablative, dative, etc., because I figured that if someone was going to be described as the coolness, it would probably be in the nominative form anyway. Anyway, so thus far I've broken down the first line. The lyrics of the song as a whole are as follows. Ludovici Cole est Frigus, Ludovici Cole est Frigus, Ludovici Cole est Frigus, Ludovici Cole est Frigus, Amen, Ludovici Cole est Frigus, Amen. So I think I've broken down all the lyrics. Amen is self-explanatory. Now, I've not fully digested the rest of the album, nothing, yet. I only got it this week. But so far my favourite track is probably A Pill in the Sea. If you want to know what I mean about how this is the very best of contemporary jazz pop, check it out. And Ray Thistlewaite's solo at the end is just absolutely killing. So this has been my first neo-Latin pop culture inspired video. I don't know, perhaps I'll do another. Perhaps I'll do another sometime. Maybe one on Latin in Warhammer 40k. That's a whole other rich seam of modern pseudo-Latin. That's all for another time. In the next video though, I'll survey the lesbian epic tradition. I'm quite looking forward to making that one because I'm going to have some really fantastic original art in that one. Not mine. Meantime, like and subscribe and we'll be back soon.